Well, hello, I'm Mike Festiva. Welcome back. So you know I got a mini truck this last year and I've been really happy with it, but there's been some things I haven't been happy with. You might notice it looks different now because I got different rims and tires on here. I went from a 25-inch tire down to a 23, and I have some reasons why I did that. I know some of you guys are just off after fashion. You think, why would you do that? Those other tires look way cooler. I'm a function over fashion guy any day. So we'll go into detail why I did this. We actually, in this video, we try out 3 different size tires. These original mud tires that came on it, which are 25-inch, and the 23 inches here. And I think we run about 22 and a half inch tire as well. So we try out some different tires, and I'll go into more detail for what rims and tires I use at the end of the video. And I'll also go into detail. I've had a lot of people ask what these mud terrain tires were on here and the rims. I'll give you guys the best info I have on this, and you can look them up from there and see if you can find them. All right, so stick around, enjoy the video. All right, heading out on the highway here. These are with the 25-inch ATV style side-by-side tires, and I doubt it's gonna pull over 50 on the highway here. This is one of the frustrating factors of pedal to the metal, and usually won't pull over 50. So we're gonna do a tire speed test here. Still in third, 6,000 RPMs. Shift to fourth. Full throttle, 45. Not good. Let's see what we get up to here. Dogging hard. We got just under 4,000 RPMs. 3,900. Just doesn't have much power here to pull it. Full throttle, 44 now. 46. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna reach over 45 to 46 here at about 3,900 RPMs. Problem with the 25-inch tires is unless you cut the fenders, they rub. Yeah, that's awesome. They might look cool, but they suck for driving, everyday driving, at least on the road. So, previous owner for these bigger, wider 12-inch rims with these off-road tires, they actually had to change the lug pattern, and they put these giant wheel adapters on them, which can put more load on your bearings and all your suspension components. So we're going to try to get rid of those. I want the tires sitting inboard a little bit more to cut down on rubbing, and it's just mud spray over the mirrors and the side of the vehicle. So these stock Suzuki lug pattern is 4 by 114.3 millimeter. And these adapters for these off-road rims made them down to 4 by 100, which is kind of similar to some Honda bolt patterns and things like that. We're actually going to be getting rid of that. And the problem is when I actually fit the Suzuki rim on here, the inner part where it actually centers on the hub is not fitting correctly. This is more of a taper, and those ones fit over kind of more of a rounded, just like a cylinder. So we need little wheel spacers, and I could run to town, probably 2 hours of searching, maybe come up with no luck, and maybe if I do find them, 50 bucks later. It's really time and effort, and if I order them, they're going to be a week out. So I'm going to go in the shop here and draw up some wheel spacers and cut them out of some 1/4-inch steel. So let's go do that next. Well, here's the first wheel spacer. You gotta go out, check it, make sure it fits, and cut 3 more on here. So here's that wheel spacer I cut. Looks like it's gonna work great here. Now that inner hub centering point isn't gonna affect where it sits on the rim. Basically, when you try to bolt the rim on here, it would never sit up against this backing plate right here because it was teetering on the center cone. Yes, I know. These tires and rims look hellish on this thing. Not good, but these are the stock old GEO Metro tires. They're going to come off of here, of course, and put those newer knobby truck tires on here. I'm going to try to clean up the rims and paint them. Right now, this will tell me what I need to know. If this really restores some of the gearing on here, it makes better power. We'll pull 55 on the highway. That's definitely key. It's function over fashion. Okay, we're about 30 3,900 RPMs, right about 40 miles an hour. That's where we can pull at 39, I think. Last time was at 45, so we're at 40 now, so that's good. Increasing speeds, we're 5,000 RPMs now at 52 miles per hour. Oh, 55, and about 5,300 RPMs. Oh man. Saw 57 for a second there. 58, about 5,400 RPMs. So I'm not sure if you guys could hear the audio there, but yesterday when we took this machine out with the bigger off-road style tires on it, we hit about 3,900 RPMs, about 45 miles an hour. This time around we hit 3,900 RPMs at 40 miles an hour. So we did actually be able to pull 57 through that same section. We pulled 45 to 46 maybe. So that was a big improvement here. The tires are super ugly. Tires and rims. The rims need to be cleaned up. Definitely not gonna win any beauty pageant here. Definitely not the nicest looking. Those other ones look much more rugged and robust, but if you can't pull highway speeds with this thing, it's not really super functional unless you're just planning off-road only, and I need to use it as a little vehicle as well. So we're gonna take these over. I'm gonna pull these rims back off of here and then try out the mud terrain tires I just ordered. They are slightly bigger in diameter, but maybe by a ½ inch total. They might be a little heavier as well. So we'll see how the truck does. We'll try them out. So we got these tires to put on next. They are just barely bigger than this, but they're significantly smaller than this tire here. So I'll get the specs on here and we'll go over all these tires. And I've had a ton of people ask what the tires that came on my truck here. We'll go over this at the very end of the video in detail in case you guys want to destroy your gearing on your truck. It might not be a factor to you if you're just driving back roads 45 and less and you're cruising through like muddy terrain and just full on gravel off-roading with them. We'll cover the tire size and rims that are on here, and I'll measure the spacers and try to get that information to you as well. And we'll talk about these tires after I get them mounted up. We'll see how they perform and where I found them. So we're trying out the little mud terrain tires, the 13 inches. Third gear. Fourth gear. 3,900 RPMs. We're at 42, maybe 41. So I've definitely changed the gearing a little bit from the GEO tires. Now pedal to the metal, we'll see what we get here. Set this up in time lapse so you can see the speedometer, because you can definitely hit 55. All these tests I've been doing, the same part of the highway was up a slight uphill grade and accelerating up that. So I'm gonna set this up for time lapse from some varying highway stuff, just kind of uphills, downhills, level terrain, and you can see the speedo along the next 5 miles or so and see how it reads. You definitely keep 55 most of the highway stretches with these tires. They're not as good as the GEO tires, but they're all right. They're much better than the ones that came on my truck, the big mud terrain. after going up that muddy hillside, and you can see the terrain's pretty mucky here, and they have mud on the treads, but they're not stuck and packed full of mud, which is nice. Seems to shed the mud very well. All right, so we'll go into the detail on these tires here. These were on the truck when I purchased it. They sure look cool. They're basically brand new when I got them. They do great off-road. You can air them down a bit, but once you get on the road with them, aired down is kind of gotta weigh it out because it robs so much power as it is with the big diameter of the tires, plus air down, it robs more. If you're just driving off-road strictly and don't mind maybe trimming your bottoms of your doors, you could run these things. I didn't like how wide they were on the truck. I'd like to keep the truck more narrow for getting around tight gates and just little sections between stumps and stuff. Plus it threw a bunch of mud on the mirrors and over the sides of the truck. That's my opinion on them, but if you're interested in them, we'll go into detail here. They're from a company, GBC Motorsports, called the Mongrel, and they are 25 by 8 by 12. So there are 12-inch tires, really big sidewall on them, which is kind of nice for off-roading. The rims looks like they are ITP rims, and I don't know any more info on the rims other than that. And the wheel spacer on the back, because these have a different lug pattern. And I'll put all that stuff on the side over here, all the information on this tire that I can find, so you can do a little internet search. But it looks like an offset on this wheel spacer is about 1.5 inches offset, which really push the tires out there more. I don't really like putting really big wheel spacers because it can cause more wear and tear on all the steering components. And like I said, I like the function over fashion. I like to actually have the tires sitting inside in the fender well so it's not spraying mud all over. But if you guys are interested in just straight up off-roading, these might be a good tire for you. They do rob a lot of power, but you're going to be in low range, and it wasn't an issue in low range at all. Oh, another thing about these, when I got them, they weren't balanced at all, and the thing had like wicked death wobble. And so I went through and I had to balance them, and they were kind of hard to balance out. But again, if you're going slow off-road, it might not be an issue. Now we'll go into detail on these tires I have on here now. They're mud terrain tires. They're called Forceum, and they are 165/80 R13, so it's a 13-inch rim. The rims came off a GEO Metro, probably a 96 GEO Metro, and like I said, I cut those little 1/4-inch wheel spacers because they didn't fit the center, the hub centric very well, but it actually worked out pretty well. You wouldn't have to cut your own. You could just order wheel spacers online. And these tires work really well. They're a bit narrower, like I said, plus without the wheel spacer, it brings it inboard a bit, keeps the vehicle back to its kind of stock width, which for me is more beneficial for getting down tight trails than having these tires sticking way out on the sides. But it kind of comes down to what you prefer and what you want to do with your vehicle. For me, I'm driving around off-roading and cruising around trails on my property and other places, but I also like to hop in the vehicle and take it into town. Now that I can hit that 50 to 55 mile an hour range on the highways and back roads, it's way more functional for me to be able to take this thing to town, get parts and pieces, or pick up groceries or building supplies and be able to come home, but also be able to do some off-roading. I'm out in Washington, we got a lot of mud, and these still really hook up really well, and they shed the mud out of the tracks. The way the tracks are cut, they're kind of stepped, and the mud seems to fling out of them very easily. So I want to get a lot more miles in on these things, and you guys will see it a lot more in future videos, and I'll go into more detail how they're holding up. But they feel like a very well-built tire. The carcass is very heavy duty. I think they're 8-ply tires. They're pretty stout. They seem like a scaled down small truck tire, but just really small. And there's not many tires in this tire size. I like them. They're slightly oversized from stock, but they're not so big. I've not had an issue with them rubbing at all on the wheel wells. Like I said, it's not flinging mud all over the sides of the vehicle. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider giving it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're not. I have a lot of other mini truck videos. I'll put a few of them down below in the description if you want to check out those. All right, until next time, take care. Bye.